You can sense the intensity as they await the arrival of the Tennessee team here at Leland Stadium. The #1 undefeated Volunteers prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
What's going on, Vol fans? What's up, SEC fans? Bobby Catfish McGraw bringing it to you live from Joplin, Missouri. I'm borrowing another CFI truck for this live broadcast, and I've been out of pocket lately. And if I could get some ones that y'all can hear me, that'd be great. We've got a great show in store for you guys today. Catfish has bought him a new truck. And supposed to be in next week. I'm training a student while I'm out here on the road. Got it coming from a dealer up in Iowa coming down, and by the time I get this student graduated, I'll be in my new ride, and I cannot wait. I tell you what, we got a ball game. There's some rumblings out there that are saying Tennessee has a chance. Now, I'm not talking about the Dumb and Dumber chance, like, oh, really, a chance? 1 in a million? No, we've got a chance. Let me tell you, there's 3 reasons why I have Tennessee going down to the Hogwarts School of Medicine and beating Auburn. Straight up beating them. Number 1, Gus Malzahn. He's on the short bus out of town. You know what's something about Gus Malzahn? He's on the hot seat, and he can't escape it. They can't fire him. $49 million buyout. That's ridiculous. I tell you what, Auburn better be ashamed of themselves. Every other year, they're about ready to fire Gus, and then an odd number of years they catch lightning in the bottle. They're the luckiest school in the SEC, probably the history of the SEC. So the coach is the first reason why I think Tennessee is going to win. Gus is trending downward. Jeremy Pruitt is showing some passion. He's kicking over whiteboards. You know, he's starting to show me something. That's the second reason, is that the offensive line. Stid Baloney couldn't hit the ocean from the deck of the Titanic. Their offense is in shambles. Their defense gave up 1 million yards against Mississippi State. And I just think this is prime pickings to knock Auburn off. Yeah, they're favored by 14.5. But I tell you what, you need to bet your house on that. There ain't no way they're beating us by more than 2 touchdowns. And I think we're going to beat them straight up. And the third reason, and this is the most important reason, I'm undefeated every time I fired up a victory cigar before a ball game. And that's what old Catfish is going to do. Firing up my cigar a little bit early, and I've got Couch Coach on with us. And Couch Coach, can you believe I fired up my victory cigar? And I'm undefeated when I've done this. When we played ETSU, fired up the cigar a little bit early. We took care of business. And I got my victory cigar going right now. What do you think? Do you think my Vols have a chance? You've been raining on my parade all year on my Vols. But tell me, we got a chance, don't we?
Well, I mean, everyone's got a chance, right? But first off, I appreciate you having me on. And it's going to be an exciting weekend of football. I mean, of course, the battle on the plains at noon. We have the battle in the Bayou down there at 3:30. And, of course, these other big matchups coming up. Can anybody stop Alabama? Anybody even slow them down? Is that even something that's going to possibly happen this year? And, of course, maybe everyone's thoughts about this Jake Bentley situation over in South Carolina. Is he supposed to be coming back, or should they have just stuck with that Scarnecchia kid? These are some things we'll kind of bring up throughout the broadcast here.
Well, you still didn't answer my chance. I know you said we got a chance, but I want you to tell me straight up, between me and you, we got a few viewers watching us. What do you think about this Tennessee-Auburn game? What do you think about Auburn? They're trending downward. They didn't play good at all against Mississippi State.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I mean, I think that I think the biggest thing that's favoring Tennessee right now is that you guys are coming off a bye week.
Yeah.
And ideally, a bye week is something that should favor you, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the thing about Tennessee is they got to have some kind of identity on offense clicking here over the bye week, because Auburn, regardless of what's going on with that offense right now, that defense is still pretty good. So Auburn's defense versus y'all's offense, that's going to be an important matchup, because you guys have got to establish something there, either with a run game or something. Yeah. I just think that with Auburn playing at home, it was 14.5 or whatever they're favored by. I mean, shoot. I mean, Auburn's having a hard enough time just even scoring 14 points right now. Yeah. But if you're going to ask my opinion, I like you guys on the line there a little bit. I might take, I see it kind of being like maybe like a 30-20 kind of game. And so I can see it being close. I just think Auburn at their place was kind of the fire's been kind of lit under them a little bit. I don't think they're a great team. I still think they got a couple losses in them. It's not outside the realm of possibility that Tennessee could get them. I just think Tennessee has a better shot in terms of matchups of getting a South Carolina or a Vanderbilt or something along those lines. I think Auburn, it might still be a little bit of a tough stretch there. That's just my opinion.
Well, we got Adam Bumgardner in the house, and he said we're going to beat at least one Alabama team this year. Now, if I had to pick an Alabama team, that'd be next weekend. But I just think we're running the ball well, and Auburn's giving up a ton of yards on the ground, and they're not very productive. They're getting in 3rd and long and not getting very many yards on first down. And I just think that Gus is just throwing stuff up against the wall, and it's just not sticking. And I haven't gotten to watch much of Auburn play this year, but what I've read, Stidham is struggling, really struggling. And I don't know what your opinion is of it.
Well, I mean, I think what I see with Stidham is he's kind of one of these guys that benefits from a run game. I noticed that last year. I mean, they had a veteran offensive line. I mean, Auburn last year had a really, really good offensive line. And, of course, they had Petway before that, and they had Kerryon Johnson. So they had, like, 2 guys back there that could really tote the mail. And I think if you give Stidham a run game to kind of complement his skill set, it works really well. They can spread you out and make you defend the entire field. And they can go up-tempo, which is really what Gus kind of likes to do. And I think the fact that they don't have that run game, they're kind of having some struggles on that offensive line, it really affects – it gets them behind the sticks. And, Stidham's just not a great downfield passer. He really needs to kind of complete that short, kind of cheapy stuff and then just kind of get the ball moving. And so I think if they can't play fast, that's a real problem for Auburn. And I think if that's the case, Tennessee's got a shot.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to the phone lines here in just a minute. We've got 2 or 3 waiting. Me and Couch Coach come on here pretty regular, and we give our opinions. I want to hear you guys' opinions. Call the show 855-489-7623, sponsored by Allied Oil and Tire. And I want to know, when you call in, the first thing before you get to what you're talking about, this is the rule, I want to know your biggest surprise or biggest disappointment of the season. And me and Couch Coach, we're going to give you our big surprises throughout the show. But I'm going to go to the phone lines here in just a second, but I'm going to do my regular round and giving a shout out to everybody I see in here. We got Joseph Trotter, glad you're in here, the Vol General. Y'all go check him out. He's a great YouTuber. Ryan Schrick, crying Ryan. Of course, Ryan probably ain't crying too much right now. He's a Gator fan. Jermaine Dunbar's in here. K.A. Sheehy, Adam Bumgardner, he's always been in here for me. Go Dogs is in here. Let's see if anybody new is in here. Alan V. Alan V's been watching me since forever. and he's been a good viewer of my show. Hound Dog's in here. Vol Advocate, Danny, he's in here. He has UT winning by 5. Go Vols. George, always a good Gator fan. He's in here. And Dennis Wilson, he's always in here with me. And I'm going to go to the phone lines. You want to take a call or two here, Couch Coach? I think we go to the phone lines. Let me see. Somebody from 865's calling, and I'm going to try to make these calls short because we're starting to get them stacked up here. But let's see here. We've got an 865. What you got for Catfish and Couch Coaching? Who's calling?
You know who it is. It's Ryan.
Oh, crying Ryan.
Yeah, it's me.
Are you feeling pretty good right now about your Gators?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So talk to us. How do you feel?
Ellis, I feel like right now, after seeing how Florida beat LSU, I think it's either between me or Florida or Kentucky who has the best chance to beat Georgia this year. It's one of those two teams.
All right, I'm gonna change your nickname back to Crazy Ryan from Crying Ryan. I think you're out of your mind. There ain't no way.
Yeah.
I never said either would. I said those have the best chance.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, everyone's got a chance, right? Everyone has a chance.
Yeah.
I just think that you guys better get a quarterback, man. You and Kentucky better get quarterbacks because that's what's going to beat the Georgia team. I'm just keeping that real.
Yeah.
So who do you play? You're off this week, aren't you?
No, we have at Vandy.
Oh.
Yeah, they're at Vandy.
Y'all might struggle against Vandy. Where's it at?
Vandy, Nashville.
Oh, is it? What do you think?
Yeah,
What's your
Vandy
prediction?
always plays close, though. It's going to be close. Vandy always plays Florida close every year. Even like 2 of the national championship years, we barely went out of Nashville.
Well, what the rule was, you had to tell it. The rule was you had to come. If you're going to come on to my show, you had to tell me your biggest surprise and biggest appointment. So hit me with that real quick. What's your biggest surprise of the season so far?
Biggest surprise? Virginia Tech losing to Old Dominion.
Man, I thought you know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say the biggest surprise is that Florida beat Tennessee.
I think it's surprising to me.
What's your biggest disappointment? I know what this is going to be. What's your biggest disappointment?
Oh, the streak. It hurts.
The streak, Kentucky. That's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah. So are you keeping your grades up at Farragut High School? Did you know I took Neil Clabo on a fishing trip down in Lenoir City? I was hoping you'd come out and see me. So you keeping your grades up? I
was on a road trip up to Kansas City on Saturday, and I had to watch the GameCast on ESPN for the game. Yeah. And once we got there, it was like mid-game, and I had to run in and I had to turn on TV to watch my Florida game or the LSU game. So I couldn't, So it was like, and I was pleasantly surprised by the score.
I was surprised. I had LSU winning that game.
Mhm. Yeah, I bet you did.
I did. Were you surprised? Did you have LSU winning that, Couch Coach?
Yeah, I did. I really thought LSU was going to make a strong statement there. I thought that they would at least try to go on the road and put up a good fight and try to carry that momentum going into the Georgia game. And, boy, that just didn't happen at all. That passing game really looks awful for LSU. But, sometimes you just got to give the other team credit. And I think Florida had a lot of good energy coming in there. They had a big road win the week before. And I think that, there was just, I think they put Tebow in the Ring of Honor there or something. So it was just kind of one of those deals that I think they just kind of caught them at the right time. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to give credit to Florida. I mean, they played good football considering what they have right now. I mean, Dan doesn't even have all his players in there yet. So he's still kind of working with a lot of what McElwain has. But, I was very surprised that they beat LSU. I did not see that coming.
Well, Crying Ryan or Crazy Ryan, I appreciate you calling in. I've got a stack of callers. You call me again tomorrow or on my Tuesday show, but I've got to get to some calls. And congratulations on your win against the Corn Dogs.
Thank you. I'll be watching.
All right, buddy. We'll see you. Well, let's see who else we got. We've got a 470 area code and a couple more on hold. Let's see what they've got. We've got a caller. This is Catfish and Couch Coach. What you got for us?
What's going on, guys? First off, go Dogs. Pretty big game tomorrow, I guess we could say. But I'm going to be honest, I'm really not worried about this game tomorrow against the Corn Dogs. LSU, to me, has a lot of issues that are more visible than what Georgia has going on right now. Georgia's got issues at some positions, but LSU's got major issues. I don't trust. Joe Burrow is not reliable when it comes to throwing the ball, especially in big-time moments of games. We saw that against Florida. And their running game's really average at best. I mean, they run the ball 1 million times a game, and they only get, I think, 4 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, defensively, I mean, they got players on their defense, of course, but they're not all that great. I think they're like 40-something in total defense. I just think LSU, I mean, yeah, they're 5-1, and it's going to be tough to play on the road there. But I think that's the only thing that's helping LSU in this game, and I think Georgia goes in there and controls that football game. And I'd say we win 34-14, something along that.
Wow.
I'm going to be honest. Yeah.
Wow.
I think
that's
controlling them, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a possibility, right? I mean, and I agree that on some level, I mean, LSU, I think a lot of football is about momentum and just playing well at certain times of the year. I mean, you saw that with Auburn last year. I mean, the beginning of the year, they kind of stumbled out of the gate, and, man, they hit their hot streak, and when they were hot, they could beat anybody, right? And I really kind of thought that LSU had that potential out of the West to kind of be an Auburn-like team this year with that kind of fly in the ointment kind of mentality. And I was really disappointed with how they played against Florida. I mean, they looked really bad in that situation, and I just think that they really needed a strong showing from a momentum standpoint to be able to go into a game like Georgia and feel confident at home. Georgia's just a tough team to bounce back on, you know what I mean? So I think that was a really bad loss for LSU, and I just think Georgia definitely has the weapons. Now, the thing about this is the best team that Georgia has played. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, LSU has NFL caliber defense. I don't get too hung up on total defense and things like that. I mean, that's kind of nitpicky stat boy kind of stuff. LSU, bottom line, has got a really good defense, and we've got to be able to execute on all cylinders. If we start off slow, that's going to be a problem for Georgia. Georgia needs to have their act together from a play calling standpoint and really have some good energy going into that game.
Yeah. We can't, Oh, go ahead, Captain. Go ahead.
I think Couch Coach nailed it on the head. LSU is a lot better than I thought, but me and Couch Coach both said before the season. Now, we didn't think they were going to do like they're doing, lately. But we thought both Kentucky and LSU was probably going to be a middle-of-the-pack team. And that might be where they end up. I don't know. But there's already a party. I seen on Bleacher Report they have a ton of Georgia fans in New Orleans. Did y'all see that where they were going down Bourbon Street?
Yeah, they've got something like, I think 61% of the tickets, I didn't read the whole thing, like 61% of the tickets, the zip codes were from Georgia or something. So we could be seeing another Notre Dame game from last year in this game. I mean, that would be huge, honestly.
That says a lot. Death Valley, and you've got more than LSU tickets. LSU ought to be ashamed of themselves if this is true.
Well, LSU, I'm sure there's going to be more. It'll probably be, I would say probably a 60% LSU, 40% Georgia at the max, but it'll probably be around 70 to 30%.
Yeah.
It won't be like a whole LSU crowd, I don't think.
Hey, listen, you give us Georgia fans a reason to party, and we're going to go to Bourbon Street. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. But Catfish, what was it? Most disappointing? What
I wanted to know what your biggest surprise and your biggest disappointment of the season. It doesn't have to be with Georgia. It can be if you want. It could be outside the SEC, in the
Wait,
SEC.
What? I lost you.
Give me your biggest surprise of the season.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello, yeah, say it again.
Yeah, give me your biggest surprise and your biggest disappointment. It doesn't have to be with Georgia. It could be with anybody, anywhere in sports. What is your biggest surprise and disappointment?
Well, I'll go with teams. I would say the most surprising team for me in college football, it has to be the Kentucky Wildcats.
That's what
I mean, this team was expected to win 5 games at the max, and they're already at 5 wins, and I guarantee you, I think they're going to win over 8 games this season. I don't see them beating Georgia, and I think they can maybe slip up somewhere else against a Missouri or I don't remember who else they play, but maybe a Missouri. I mean, this team could win 10 games. They really could. I don't see them winning the East because they just don't match up with Georgia. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And then maybe another most surprising team. I've heard stuff about Hawaii and how good they are. They're like 6-1, and they win like 2 games a year, and they're pretty surprising. They got a good quarterback. If you guys don't know about Cole McDonald, Hawaii's quarterback, look him up. That dude is a stud. And the most disappointing teams, I would have to say Auburn right now, because the way Auburn's playing, Georgia and Alabama are going to trounce them. Yeah. And it's not going to be pretty. Yeah. And then another disappointing team is probably Michigan State. A lot of people had them winning the Big Ten, and they're going to probably win 8 games at the max.
Well, those are interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Couch Coach what his biggest surprise is, but I appreciate you calling. I've got a stack of callers I've got to get to, and thanks for calling. You've always been a good caller. Thank you, buddy. Well,
Absolutely.
Couch Coach, before I go to this next caller, a 629 area code, what's your biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise? Well, I'm going to have to say I have been very surprised. I gotta echo the Kentucky bandwagon. For a while, I've been off it. You see these kind of teams every year, right? Like you'll see like these Mississippi teams that will get off to a good start, or Louisville or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Kentucky is playing really good defense right now. I mean, that defense in that run game of theirs is as good as anybody out there. Besides, maybe they don't have the depth of a lot of these better teams, but as far as just starting kind of group, I mean, they play very hard physical football. So you have to say Kentucky as a surprise. Biggest disappointment, I got to go with South Carolina. I mean, this was a team that was expected to be a solid number 2 in the East, and maybe even compete for the East this year. And man, I mean, like Bentley has regressed badly. I mean, that situation over there. I mean, I think a lot of people are just like they want to see him benched. I mean, he's a third-year starter, and he's been dreadful. That offense has been a nightmare. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do this weekend, because I got to tell you, if they go out there and they lose badly to Texas A&M, Muschamp's going to feel it about that quarterback situation and putting Bentley out there a little too soon, I think.
Yeah. Well, we've got a 629 area code on the line with us. What you got for Catfish and Couch Coach?
How you doing, Catfish? This is the Vol General.
Hey, Vol General. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I was looking at my previews. I got 5 things we need to do in order to upset Auburn. Do I think we can do it? Definitely. Now, it starts up front with the big man up front, the offensive line. If we play like we did versus Georgia with that offensive line, and Garantano, he has enough time to throw it deep, I really like our chances, because that's the only way we can really beat Auburn, is if we can throw the ball deep and get something going against that defense. Mm-hmm. Yes, their offense is struggling right now, but that defense, I really like their defense. And on the defensive line, Auburn's offensive line is just not good right now. If we can get to Stid Baloney, then I really like our chances. If we give Stid Baloney all day to throw, we might actually get blown out in this one. But we can't give Stid Baloney all day to throw. He'll kill you all game. And the third thing is we have to come out and get hot and get some early momentum, because if we start slow, I don't see any way we can come back and beat Auburn from behind. We have to get off to a good start there. This is going to be a low-scoring game. I think all points are going to matter. If you're down there and it's 4th and goal from the 5-yard line, don't be an idiot and go for it. This is going to be a low-scoring game. You definitely need to kick the field goal and take the points. I have Tennessee winning by a score of 16-10. What about you, Catfish?
Well, I think we're going to win. I really have a feeling. I fired up my victory cigar, and I'm perfect. I'm 1-0 doing the victory cigar the day before the game, and I'm fixing to be 2-0. I think the score is probably going to be 21-17. I just think we can get in the end zone. I really do. And Stidham has not been doing very well. Their offensive line has not been doing good, but you're kind of reiterating what we've all been saying. I want to know something. The rule was you had to give me your biggest surprise in football and your biggest disappointment. And I've got Allen waiting on hold, but I want to know from the Vol General, and y'all need to go sub him up, what's your biggest surprise and biggest disappointment?
My biggest surprise, this isn't even close, it's Kentucky. I had Kentucky finishing 4-8. I was not a big believer in Benny Snell and the Wildcats. I was shocked to see how they started the season. Yeah, they lost to Texas A&M, but 5-1 for Kentucky. That's a really good season so far. It reminds me a little of our 2016 season with Kentucky. We started 5-0, beat Florida, and then go down to Texas A&M and lose a close one in overtime. It really reminds me of our 2016 season. If they can, at the beginning of the season, I had us blowing out Kentucky like 31-14 or something like that at home. Well, that ain't happening now. So I don't think we'll lose. I don't think we'll beat Kentucky anymore, but I do think we can get past Auburn now. So we switch those up, and we can do that. My biggest disappointment this season, I'm going to have to agree with Cal's coach and say South Carolina. I mean, when you have high expectations at a place like South Carolina, which they very seldom do, you have to capitalize, and they just didn't do that this year. Very disappointing year for the Gamecocks. A lot of my South Carolina friends saying that they wanted Bentley. I haven't watched a lot of the Gamecocks this year, but just looking off their record, it'd probably be a good idea to get some new leadership for that team.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you on the Kentucky, too, and I really think Kentucky could have really had a good chance to win that ball game. They were going against some home cooking and a home crowd, College Station. I mean, that's just football. Sometimes it bounces your way and sometimes it doesn't. And it didn't bounce Kentucky's way. And I tell you what, that was a pretty sluggish game all the way up there towards the end. But sometimes you got to play hard all the way to the end, waiting for the ball to bounce your way, and A&M capitalized. But I appreciate your call. I've got some callers on hold, but thanks for calling. Y'all go sub up Vol General and give me a ring. I want to know your opinion. 855-489-7623. For those of you that have been following me for a long time, know that I really want to make sure that this channel that I do here, it's not the best entertainment. I don't have all the production value that Uncle Lou has and some of these guys, but I want to include the fans, and Uncle Lou does a real good job of doing that. And he's a good guy, but that's what I want to do. I want to turn this over to the fans, and I want to hear your opinion. And we're going to go to the phones. We got Alan down in the 404. He's on with us. What you got for Catfish and Couch Coach?
Good evening, Catfish and Couch Coach. Great to hear your program on tonight. Really good stuff. I am pulling for the Vols as hard as I possibly can this weekend. And I mean this sincerely. I do not mean this poking fun. Auburn has proven this year they look just as dreadful as Tennessee, statistically, performance-wise. I think it's going to be a very even ball game. Just like the general said, you jump out in front, keep it a little wide open at first, that team's not going to catch you. Yeah. I just have every ounce of energy in my body pulling for the Vols to break that streak, and there would be no better perfect opponent than our sister school, Auburn. I would love to see it, Catfish. I would absolutely love to see that. And Couch Coach could probably expound upon that. I would love to see this happen. I'm wishing it would happen so badly. I just think both teams are just very, very even right now.
Well, they call it the Hogwarts School of Medicine for a reason. They seem to
That's
get
correct.
lucky. Of course, I had an uncle used to say all the time, I'd rather be lucky than good any day. But anyway, what is your biggest surprise and your biggest disappointment in college football, Alan?
Well, Catfish, I am an SEC man, but I like to look at the broad scope from coast to coast. And if you're as old as I am, there is no way you go into this year and look at one of the greatest football programs in the country, Nebraska, and go into week 6 wondering how badly they're going to lose to Northwestern and go 0-6 this week. Yeah. There's nobody that would have predicted that. Yeah. And it's happening. And the Nebraska fan must be hiding in a closet somewhere this year. It is a train wreck, a disaster. It's unbelievable. It's gigantic. Nebraska is a huge program, and to be 0-5 right now, unexcusable.
I forgot about Nebraska.
100%.
It's embarrassing. It's just completely embarrassing. My biggest disappointment of the year so far is just looking over in the SEC West in general, looking at some of the performance. There's no way. There is absolutely no way Arkansas should be as bad as they are. Even in a coaching transition, that team is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, if you'd have told me, what do they got? 1 win? 2 wins? It's unbelievable. I don't even know their record is so bad.
They got blown out by North Texas. Yeah, was really bad.
That's inexcusable. So if you'd have told me this time last year that Arkansas would be that bad, I would not have believed that either.
Well, I forgot about Nebraska when we were talking about that, even in the show prep with the Couch Coach. And I see, I wanted to go through here real quick, so pardon me. Herbert Bradford's in the house. Let's see who else is in here. Josh Pinion, he's followed me for a while. Tennessee Vol 09er is in here. I think that's all the new guys in here. But anyway, Nebraska, there was a lot of hype going in Nebraska. They thought they were going to turn the corner with Scott Frost, and, man, they hit a wall. I think they've got players mutinying, quitting, all sorts of craziness going on out there. Yeah. Well,
that's all I got, Catfish and Couch Coach. It's good listening to y'all, and I'll check in again.
Well, I appreciate it, Alan. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Good night.
Alan's always been a good caller. Before we go into the next caller is a treat, and I'm going to savor the next caller. He's calling from the Palmetto State, or Palmetto State, the way I called it. But he's a surprise. He's been on hold a few minutes, but he's a good buddy of mine, so he don't mind waiting. Is there anything other than college football, because this looks like this is our last caller, that's going on right now that's just making headlines? There's just not a lot going on. Can you think of anything?
Well, I mean, I can tell you that for these guys who follow MMA, that was a pretty wild finish with Khabib and the Conor McGregor fight. I think that was last weekend with just I'm not really surprising that Khabib won, but that the fact they had this big old fight after the actual fight was just kind of exorcist crazy. But other than that, I mean, I can't really think of anything other than just Bama dominating like they dominate. I mean, is anyone going to stop that offense at all? I mean, any kind of resistance at all? I mean, come on.
They're going to run up against a buzzsaw next weekend, but we'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
But that Conor McGregor, does that guy know how to sell tickets? You know that's all show, and he's he slides a fox, and I think they both were selling tickets for a rematch. I don't think they were really upset at each other. I think a lot of that is, hey, we need to sell tickets, and that may be one of the biggest pay-per-view fights if they get a rematch in a long time, if not ever. But we're going to go to the phones, and that was a crazy sight seeing them going over. Hey, did you see that one Russian that blindsided Connor when he jumped into the ring? I mean, he popped him.
Those guys are nuts, man. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he had like an underground ring or like, those guys over there. I mean, like I saw Khabib like wrestling with a bear when he was like a kid or something. I was like, good Lord, man. Like, I mean, he's like Ivan Drago, like in real life, like he has like this glare on his face that's just like, Jesus. I mean, he survived 30 Siberian winters or something. He's not going to be afraid of Conor McGregor,
Well, they said Davy Crockett wrestled a bear when he was 3. But let's go. Here's a surprise. Y'all get your popcorn. I'm just going to sit back and listen. I'm going to let Couch Coach interact with this next caller. And this ought to be really entertaining. We're going to the great state of South Carolina. Who we got here for Catfish and Couch Coach?
Mayday! How you doing? Bob Jackson's here.
Well, how you doing?
How y'all doing?
I'm doing good.
How y'all doing?
All right. Mayday.
Mayday. I tell you, see, you're getting it. You're getting it, Cal Coach. You're getting it. You get it. Hey, listen. I got one for Catfish. Hadn't ran through any other rigs lately, have you?
Nope, but I bought me a new truck.
Lord.
I had one bought yesterday. Got everything lined up, and dang if they didn't sell it out from under me. I tried to buy another one. They sold it out from under me, and I fell in love with a truck, and it'll be here next week. And I'm training this one student. He ought to be done here in the end of the week, and I'll be driving my new truck. I haven't named it yet. They're bringing it to the Kenworth dealer here in Joplin. They're going to doll it up, make sure I got tons of chicken lights and chrome. And if there's any drivers out there, you know what I'm talking about. And getting it shiny and primed, and it's going to be ready, and it's going to be the new Volunteer Roadshow Studios. And I hope I don't run through another truck like I did last time.
Well, I tell you what you ought to do. You need to customize that sucker through the front to where if somebody else cuts in front of you, Lord, just keep blowing, make a good time. You get on to your destination. That's what I do.
You know what I think
Lord,
of?
I'm going to tell you.
Hold on. You know what I think of every time I see one of your live shows or hear you talk? I don't know why. This is going to sound funny. Every time I hear
You're brilliant.
No, every time I hear Bobby Durkins, it reminds me of my granny cooking possum and yams. I don't know why possum and yams is what I think of every time I hear you. But anyway, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Hey, Bobby, real quick, I got a question for you, man. I got a question.
Yeah,
you
man.
live in South Carolina?
Am I
You live in South Carolina?
and breathing? Yeah, Lord, yeah.
Let me ask, because my family's from South Carolina, so a couple questions there. My crew's from like Spartanburg, Easley, Greenville, that area. You anywhere close by there?
Yeah. I'm over in Greer.
Oh, Greer. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm originally.
There's a
originally from
pilot
Texas.
truck stop in Greer, South Carolina.
Let me tell you right now, if you go up there, Lord, you get raped, pillaged, mugged, and slapped on the back.
Hey,
they do have one of those street preachers up there.
Let me tell you something. There's I think it's a Quick Trip. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a Quick Trip. Right near that pilot, they've got the best hot dog roller section in the country. Anybody sees a Quick Trip anywhere in the country, they got hot dogs. Every kind of hot dog you can imagine, and all the condiments you can think of in there. But anyway, go ahead.
Lord, you're right. You do have to watch out some of those truck stops. You walk in there for a friendly shower, you walk out with help see. So, Lord, I tell you right now, Bobby, these youngins about to kill me. Hadn't been doing video with much past 10 days. I've been sick. Lord, it's like death put out a hit on me. They can't get me down. And then my youngins are trying to kill me. Poor little Bobby Durkin Jr. A couple of months ago, we saw a baptism at church. It broke his little heart. He thought, I want to do that. 2 puppies later, we've had to teach the boy, listen, can't keep baptizing these puppies, because every time he tries to lean that puppy back down in the water, he says in the night, of course he's mumbling hair lip because he's 2.5. He lays back the name of the Father, the Son, but he can't remember the Holy Ghost. Dang puppy drink. I mean, he means well.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, my Tigers are off tomorrow. In the past 2 weeks at Clemson, we've had a quarterback quit, say he was slapped in the face. I don't know what that meant. He needs to go back and watch some of his footage of himself playing and the guy who took his place. Then we had the guy who took his place basically got beaten assault by one of those Syracuse guys. Fortunately, we won that game, barely. Then one of my former players, unfortunately, passed away. I'm telling you right now, I love my Tigers, but that's one of the reasons I've been staying off of TV right now, because Lord, that death angel might thump me in the goober or something. I don't know. I die. I mean, I just don't know what's going on. But, we're out tomorrow, and then next week we'll play NC State.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys.
We do.
I mean, Clemson's got enough talent there to where they're going to turn. They'll work out the kinks. I mean, you guys are just kind of hitting a rough spot right now, and luckily for you, you get this bye week to kind of recalibrate and recenter. So some ways bye weeks can screw you up a little bit, especially if you're playing with a lot of good momentum. But at this point in the season where you guys are a little dinged up and kind of going through some of the, season out of football kind of stuff you're dealing with, I think this is a good, bye week that's hitting you right now. And hopefully you guys can make a big push towards the end of the year.
I mean, I tell you this, we got enough talent that if we just call decent plays and none of us gets accused and convicted of improperly touching a goat, we'll go undefeated to the end of the season.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, NC State, and a lot of people who watches me, when you watch certain people, you know who their teams are they love to pick on. I love pissing off Miami, Florida State, and NC State. Of course, South Carolina, that's just fair game. But NC State, the way they reacted last year after they lost, they played a good game. But they did the whole thing where they tried to steal towels half the game. Lord, I tell you this, I went on Amazon, bought their entire team, a whole thing of dish towels, sent it to them. And then the next thing, Dave Doran gets up there and goes, I want to know about that laptop on the sideline. Dave, listen, you're pissing off the defending national champions, the only team in the ACC that is worth the flip, and you're pissing them off. Good move, Dave. I think your career is going to be looking up for a long time. Good God. I hope we drop our drawers, boys, and let a peanut-filled log lay right on top of that NC State Wolfpack and send them back up to Raleigh. Lord.
You're always.
I can't argue with that.
You're always entertaining, Bobby. Hey, before
tell my wife that.
Before I ask you what your biggest surprise and disappointment is, and we've got a 910 area code on hold, wants to talk some Tennessee football, but are you going to be pulling for your home state team this Saturday when they take on Texas A&M? Hello,
Catfish,
crickets,
I think the world is.
Crickets.
Catfish. Catfish, you there?
I'm here.
Catfish, you there? Can you hear me? You hear me? Are you one of them pain pills? Because it has to be that I'd ever pull for those boys if they ever went out and played ISIS tomorrow. I hate to say it, I'd have to put me on one of those mask and through the desert shooting before I'd go pull for them bunch of morons. Let me tell you right now, them boys, they have a PhD in something. Losing and delusion. They run their mouth non-stop. We're in the SEC. We're in the SEC. We're great. We're awesome. When was the last freaking time you played Alabama? 2010. Well, we beat them then. Why hadn't y'all played them since? Why hadn't you played Auburn much? You can't pay them boys to play anything. Lord, if it wasn't state law, they'd get out of it from dealing with us and just run their mouths from all the way down to 26. Lord. Now, to answer your question in the Christian way, no, I will not be pulling for them.
Well, I kind of thought that's what you was going to say. But tell me, the rule was you had to tell us your biggest surprise in college football and your biggest appointment. Make it quick. We've got a caller on hold. Anybody else wants to call in? 855-489-7623, the Allied Oil and Tire Hotline. But lay it on us. What's your biggest surprise and disappointment, Bobby?
Well, I mean, y'all already kind of took my good one. Yeah. Nebraska, which I don't think that's Scott Frost's part. I don't think that's his fault. I mean, they basically set him down in the middle of the sewage tank and said, hey, clean this thing up, make it look nice so we can bring the family over. Sorry, guys, I'm up to my elbows in feces. I can't do that yet. Yeah. I thought Northwestern was going to be a little better than what they are. I like Pat Fitzgerald. You got to think that's a very difficult school to recruit at. High academic standards. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then they go out and they drop some games they shouldn't. Then they go into, then they turn around and they play. They do this same thing every year. So I was expecting a little more out of them. I thought Chip Kelly would at least smell a touchdown. I mean, Lord, UCLA, it's time to bring the hookers in or something, get some players in there. The hard times call for rough measures, but I would probably say UCLA is sucking as much as they are. I have absolutely no ties to them. They could go out there and me and my cousin Murtis could go out there and burn the stadium down. I'd go right to sleep well as long as the smoke smell didn't keep me up. But yeah, I'm surprised Chip couldn't get a win because the Pac-12, aside from Washington, sucks. They're horrible. They're horrible. Yeah. They're awful. They're awful. I've ate bad sandwiches that were better than them. So, it is what it is. But, Catfish, I know you got to get those other callers. You're doing the Lord's work. Keep doing what you're doing. And the Couch Coach, good to talk to you, too. Y'all be good, all right?
Before you go, Bobby, would you lay $100 that on Tennessee getting 14.5 points against Auburn? Where would you put your money?
I don't know. I have to like that for $100.
Just say Auburn's going to win, man. It's fine.
I hate to say it. I picked Auburn too. They schizophrenic. You got to remember that team last year lost 4 ball games, but they beat Bama and Georgia. Who does that crap? My God. But I'm pulling for Tennessee. I will tell you that I'm pulling for Tennessee, but I hate to say it. I'm pulling for the losing side, unfortunately. But I'd love to see them beat Auburn. I hope they beat Auburn, but it is what it is. Oh, Gus and the best will show up tomorrow.
All right, Bobby. Thank you.
All right, be good. Bye.
Call us before we hang this thing up at 855-489-7623. We're going to go to a 910 area code. He's been holding for 13 minutes. I'm sorry you was on hold so long, but I'm glad you called the show. You got Catfish and Couch Coach. What you got for us?
Okay. Hey, Catfish.
Hey, buddy.
I just want to ask you one question. Okay, I'm just new to the channel, but who do you think might be one of the best SEC quarterbacks this year? Like, so far right now, who do you think is the best quarterback?
The best quarterback in the SEC is Jarrett Garantano.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jake Fromm, he did good against Vandy, too.
Well, let me ask you, because it's obvious that everybody's got Tua, the Alabama quarterback, as everybody's locked for the Heisman if he stays healthy. Who do you think, if anybody other than Tua, who's the best quarterback in the SEC? What do you think?
Well, I was really want to pick Drew Lock, but then he was 0-4 against Georgia for the last 4 years against him. And he threw 4 touchdowns against UT Martin and against, I can't remember the only one, but he did. I think he might be one of the best quarterbacks. And you have Jake Fromm. I hope he does much better.
Yeah. What do you think, Couch Coach? Yeah. What do you think, Couch Coach?
He's a smart young man. I think besides Tua, obviously, you have to go that Tamu kid or whatever at Ole Miss. He's pretty solid. I would say that Kellen Mond I think he's got some skills there. Jake Fromm, I mean, everyone in Georgia especially, I mean, Georgia, we got rich people problems right now, right? Like, we get to choose between Jake Fromm or Justin Fields, but I think certainly we'd like to see Jake Fromm throw it down the field a lot more. We have some really good weapons in our receiving core, and so hopefully we could do that,
Well, one of the rules, caller, where are you calling from?
Me?
Yeah.
South Carolina.
Who's your team?
South Carolina. Duke.
You're a Duke fan, okay. So you've got the coach over there, one
Yeah.
of our former offensive coordinators. But let me ask you a question. One of the rules was if you called the show, you had to give your biggest surprise and your biggest disappointment in college football. What's your biggest surprise in college football this year?
What, for Duke?
For anybody in college, what's your biggest surprise?
Anybody?
Yeah.
Well, Old Dominion beat Virginia Tech so far.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
I think, yeah.
Let me ask you something, Couch Coach. Which do you think, and I got some ridicule about this. I said that Old Dominion upset of Virginia Tech was a bigger upset than Appalachian State and Michigan. And the reason why I said that is because at the time, Appalachian State was winning their division. They were just winning all kinds of championships in their Division II, and they had a great team, and they were just a buzzsaw for a lot of people. I thought that Old Dominion game was a bigger upset. What do you think about that?
Go ahead, buddy. You tell me.
Okay, so I think Old Dominion, they got killed against Liberty, and Liberty is not really that good this year. Man, who's the only two teams that beat? New Mexico and Old Dominion. Those two teams barely on win 2 games so far this year. I don't think Liberty. They got 52-10. I think Old Dominion is more better than them, but I don't think that. I mean, Old Dominion they got beat by Charlotte. I mean, FIU. And then they got beat last week into FAU. I mean, yeah.
It sounds like you're pretty sharp. How old are you?
I was about to say, man. Yeah.
14.
Wow. Man, he knows more than I do, I think, Couch Coach. We ought to have him on the show as a special guest.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I'm still gonna go with App State, just because
App State, yeah.
I mean, that game 10 years ago or whatever. I mean, I don't know, just Virginia Tech, because when you think I guess it's just more the national appeal of Michigan at that time. I mean, 10 years ago, Michigan was still kind of considered one of those top elite programs. And I guess you could say the same thing for Virginia Tech, but it just doesn't shock me as much that Virginia Tech lost for some reason that was Michigan. I mean, I remember watching that on opening day and being like, good Lord, what is going on? I mean, come on. I know App State's good for their division, but give me a break. I mean, this is a team they should beat by 21 or something. And it just felt more shocking to me for some reason. And that's just a completely subjective opinion.
Well, what's your biggest disappointment, caller?
Well, Tennessee, I really feel bad for you guys, but I think you guys can end the SEC losing streak tomorrow. I think you guys can beat Auburn because Auburn doesn't have good offense. So I think you guys can get the upset tomorrow and beat Auburn, and you guys will win that game.
Couch Coach, this guy's sharp as a tack. I tell you what, I like him.
I'm out of a job.
I like him.
I'm out of a job. Sorry.
He says good things about Tennessee. He's naming off victories and losses for obscure teams. I tell you what, Couch Coach, you might be out of a job. But anyway, caller.
I'm out of a job. I'm fired. Yeah.
Call back. I really love that you called in the show. I really appreciate it. I'm always glad to see young folks really into football because it is the greatest sport on earth. It's better than the NFL. It's better than Major League Baseball. It's better than the NBA. It's way better than the two communist sports, soccer and hockey. It's just the best sport on the planet, and it's because of the fans like you. And stay watching me, and I'm going to get back in the groove, and I appreciate you calling. And before we go to any more callers, 855-489-7623. Me and Couch Coach is going to make you some money real quick, and if nobody calls in, we'll end the show. Let's go back over it. 14.5 Auburn over Tennessee. Where are you putting your money, Couch Coach?
I kind of put some stuff on different things here and there. I'm just kind of basing kind of my perception at 14.5. I mean, I kind of had a game that's going to look about 27-16, 30-16 Auburn. I just think Auburn, they've been hearing it a lot about their offense sucking. I think that they're going to have a little bit more. And keep in mind, too, even if they get 27, 30 points, it doesn't have to all come from that offense. And I just think playing at Jordan-Hare, I mean, that's going to help them a little bit. So I do like Auburn there about like 30-13. Maybe take Tennessee on that line, but I think Auburn gets the victory.
So you got Tennessee with the points. Well, Tennessee is straight up winning. My victory cigar went out, but I'm going to fire it back up. So I'm going with Tennessee. Let's go on down to your game. Georgia and LSU and Death Valley. You're laying 7.5. You're not supposed to bet on your own team, but how are you going to go?
7.5, that seems like a lot. I think that this game might even be a little bit more high scoring than people think. This is definitely the best defense that Georgia has faced all year. But conversely, this is the best offense that LSU has faced all year. So I think it's going to be, 7.5 just seems like a lot. I mean, it's not a bad pick to pit the Tigers there. I like Georgia at about 31-24, something like that. I mean, the 7.5 I don't feel as good about, but I think Georgia wins the game. I just think they have too many options there. And I think that loss to LSU, LSU losing to Florida last week was just a bad loss for them. So I'm going to take Georgia at about 31-24. So.
Well, Crazy Ryan said I just wasted a perfectly good cigar. You're going to see. We're going to get our first SEC win, and I think it's coming against the Barners. That's just me. But I think you're right on that. I got Georgia winning with LSU. I think it's going to be about a 7-point game. That's a tough game. I probably would stay away from that game. So let's go to Alabama and Mizzou. They're favored by 4 touchdowns. What do you think about that one? Where are we going to go with our money on that one?
At some point, one of these teams has to bow up to Alabama a little bit, man. I mean, come on. These basketball scores are getting ridiculous here. 28, look, can Alabama cover that? Absolutely. Is Missouri's secondary terrible? Absolutely. But, for some reason, I think that, Missouri, when they showed me in that Georgia game, they could play keep away a little bit better than people think they can. Yeah. And I think that they run the ball a little bit better than people think they can. And so I think it's going to be about a 49-28 game. Alabama wins. I think that, Missouri might dominate time of possession a little bit better than people think. But, come on. Alabama's just going to, still murk that, secondary. But I don't know if they get that 50-60 that they've been putting up on people here lately.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I'm just impressed with Tua. I saw a stat. I knew he hadn't thrown an interception yet, but he's got 18 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. That's phenomenal for really he hasn't started a game until this year. He hasn't played
4 quarters of football the entire year.
That's true.
That's insanity. Yeah.
So I think Alabama covers that with these. This next game, if we don't have any more callers to the Highlight Oil and Tire hotline, 855-489-7623. This Texas A&M South Carolina game is intriguing.
Yeah.
Where's this game at?
It is. It's in Columbia.
Texas A&M's favored by 2.5. I don't know. Let me hear what you got, and then let me think about it while you're talking.
Here's the thing. South Carolina has never beaten Texas A&M, since they've come into the SEC. So clearly Texas A&M is the more seasoned team. They gave Clemson a tough out. Alabama beat them pretty good. They did beat Kentucky. So you have to kind of lean towards them. But, the thing that's concerning about South Carolina, I really would have liked this game better for them if they went with that Scarnecchia kid. I think they had some good momentum with him. Look, I know that it's whatever in the rain, but come on. I mean, Bentley, just throwing Bentley out there is kind of a problem. So I still think it could be a very, very close game, though. I think that it could even go into overtime. I could see Texas A&M winning probably like 29-26, maybe just, pushing on that line, but it's a very close game.
Yeah. Well, I had at the fishing trip I did this past weekend, the two guys with Gimme Dat, they're big South Carolina fans, and they're already calling for this backup quarterback to be the starter. They're throwing Bentley under the bus. I'm going to go with Texas A&M to win by 10 or 14 points. That's what I've got.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This is the SEC. Until South Carolina shows me something. We've got a couple of callers that are ringing in before we wrap this thing up. And let me go to the phones here. We got a 931 area code. Wants to talk Alabama, Missouri. What you got for Catfish and Couch Coach?
Hey, Catfish, owner-operator Daily. I'm glad to see you back up and running again after your little accident and everything.
I appreciate that.
I'm a truck driver myself. Yeah, I'm a truck driver myself. I know how dangerous and how deadly that can be. So I'm glad to see you made it through. But anyway, back to the topic. Yeah, everybody's talking about, Missouri's going to do this and Missouri's going to do that. I think Saban really got on the defense after the Arkansas game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we gave up more points to Arkansas than we gave up to all our other teams combined almost.
Mm-hmm.
So I really look for the defense to come out and make a statement. I've actually predicted a 59-0.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's possible with Nick. I mean, I just think that he can get onto those guys if he wants, but I think a lot of that 31 points, I mean, that's a little overinflated. I mean, you guys are up like 58-10 or something when he put your third stringers in there. So, look, I get it. I mean, Nick's just looking for any kind of thing to kind of pick at with this team. I mean, he knows what he's got, but at the same time, I mean, Drew Lock is Drew Lock, and so I think he does have the ability to kind of stretch that team out a little bit and do some things, but 59-0, I don't know if I would say that, but maybe I could see about a 59-14 or something.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to see, but I really look for the Alabama defense to come out and make a statement prior to next week when we have to make a statement on Catfish's team.
Hey, y'all are running into a buzzsaw. Buckle up, buddy.
Yeah, we're running into a buzzsaw. I think we're running into one of them cloth car washes.
Oh, man, that's low. Hey.
We're just going to turn around and round in circles going, man, that feels good.
I don't know if I like you, caller.
Well, I just got one question for you, Catfish,
right,
about third Saturday in October. What you going to do when Tua starts passing all over you?
We're going to keep hitting him, and he's going to have to keep getting up. That's what we're going to do. Hey, one of the rules was you had to give me, if you called in, your biggest surprise and your biggest disappointment in college football. It doesn't have to be with your team. It can be with your team. Go with your biggest surprise first. What's your biggest surprise? Everybody's been saying Kentucky. Do you have anything different?
Okay, well, then I'll go with something different. The other biggest surprise was Texas over Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I did not see that one coming. And as far as biggest disappointment, I would have to probably go with Tennessee, because I really thought that with the talent they had at Tennessee, Jeremy Pruitt, I didn't expect them to actually get up and be, putting 30, 40, 50 points on them, but I look for them to kind of adopt the Alabama old philosophy of, well, if we can score 10 points, we're going to win because you ain't going to score that many. Yeah. And I've just really been surprised that he's not been able to get the guys to buy in at Tennessee, in the first year, but I really expect them to turn it around. But, I mean, speaking from Alabama, I mean, we went through about 10, 12 years of what Tennessee's going through now after we lost, our, cornerstone coach. And I think Tennessee's at the edge of the tunnel, about to walk into daylight. I mean, I don't know if Jeremy Pruitt's going to be the Nick Saban, but I do think that, they're to the point now that they're about to start, winning some respectable games and getting people's attention.
I have to say I'm disappointed in Tennessee. I don't have a problem with you saying that. A lot of that is I think we're just been kicked in the mouth so much. We're looking for anything positive, and we thought that, a coaching change would have been what the doctor ordered, and it just didn't work out, and we had to readjust our expectations this year. I kept saying 7-5 was realistic, but that's not realistic anymore. I think we'll be lucky to win 5 games, but who knows? We might catch some teams here and get better. Who knows? But anyway, I appreciate you calling. I've got one more caller, and I've got to hit the road, but I'm going to take George next. But keep her between the ditches and the shiny side up, driver. And thanks for calling in, and call back anytime.
Well,
we're going to go to a Gator fan here, and I don't have a lot of time left. My battery's running dead on my laptop because I don't have it plugged in, but he's a good Gator fan. What you got, George?
I just wanted to tell everybody that if they like the video, it makes your YouTube channel go into more people's feeds that have never seen you. It'll start popping up, so they should like the video.
Smash that like button.
Always.
Yeah. And
it's no big deal. It's no big deal,
And if you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. It's the same thing. So hit that like button or that.
It counts the same. If they could be all right, they could all be unlikes. That would be just as good.
Yep. Well, y'all are off this week. What's your biggest surprise and disappointment? I don't have a lot of time here, but I'd like to hear it.
We're playing Vanderbilt.
Obviously, you think you're going to win that game, but what's your biggest surprise and disappointment in college football this season?
Auburn, probably. Disappointment.
Yeah. Well, what's your biggest surprise? Yeah.
Texas.
I actually had Texas before the season started. I thought Herman was going to really turn them around this year. I thought with Baker Mayfield leaving Oklahoma, that was going to leave the conference right in their hands, and they disappointed me to start the season, but they beat Oklahoma. I think it's between Texas and West Virginia in that Big 12. I don't know if either one of them teams could make the playoffs. What do you think, Couch Coach? Do you think Texas or West Virginia could make a playoff run, or do you think that one loss was too much?
I have. This is an interesting thing because I saw on Carolina Jackpot's video, he was talking about how there could be possibly 4 teams, or all the teams will be undefeated going into that playoff this year. And of course, a lot of people have been talking about Notre Dame and how they're probably going to run the table with an undefeated record, which of course means you're not going to get a couple of people in the same conference. West Virginia, I mean, they're an interesting team. I mean, I think it's just I have to see how that team reacts when they kind of get down by a couple touchdowns and all that kind of deal, because there's always going to be games where that happens, and that's true with Georgia and all these kind of teams. But it's going to be interesting. I do kind of like Will Grier there with West Virginia. I think that's an interesting team. I think he struggled last week or the week before. You got to forgive me, I haven't paid too much attention on them, but I do like them. I think they have some little mojo there, but can they get through it, unscathed? That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to come down to that last game for Oklahoma and West Virginia. They play each other. That's going to be a great game. I think Oklahoma maybe rebound a little bit. I think that's going to be probably the Big 12 game of the year. There's going to be a lot of implications on that. But anyway, George, I appreciate you calling in. I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute with me and Couch Coach, and you're always welcome on my show, buddy. Thank you.
All right. See you later, Catfish.
All right. Well, Couch Coach, what else we got? Anything else before I sign this puppy off?
I think that's it. Go Dogs and go Vols.
Yep. You're going to have to stop throwing shade on my Vols. You know, I just think one of these days, I tell you what, if Tennessee beat Alabama, I would run around the truck stop in my boxers all the way around it singing Rocky Top. That's how excited I'd be. But I appreciate all you guys tuning in. I haven't been as active lately because, you know, that wreck really knocked me for a loop, and it's been hard to set up this live stream and not knowing what truck I'm going to do. But I'm going to hopefully be in my new truck within, not this coming week, but the following week, and everything's lined up on that total. Did $107,000 worth of damage to my truck, and that's more than it was worth. But I'm going to be back in a brand new Volunteer Roadshow studios real soon. And I appreciate every one of you. And I'm going to take a quick view right here. I see Space Mountain, great Gator fan. Orlando Nelson's in here. I'm not going to scroll back too far. And George, he just called in. Buster Cherry, let's see. Anybody else? I don't see too many. Eating my sandwich, he's in here. I love that name. That's a pretty cool name. But anyway, y'all know what's coming next. Thanks for tuning in. Go Vols. We might go to a bowl game. I promise you that.